Willkommen! This German giant is the Mercedes-Benz EQB. Yes, this is an upmarket electric 7-seat SUV, and despite the fact it has a very shiny Mercedes badge on the front, it's actually priced about the same as the other 7-seater electric vehicles on the market. That is to say, it's quite expensive, but it does claim to get 564 k's on one charge. Probably. But wait till you have a look inside, as you're about to see, well, it's a bit posh. And we're off, and the first thing you might be wondering is why I'm covering this now, when the EQB has been in New Zealand for a couple of years now. The fact is very simple. I forgot. Now let's talk motor specs. It has a 140 kilowatt electric motor driving the front wheels with 385 torquing Isaacs, which means it's reasonably peppy, but not supercar speed. Now, as for the battery, it has a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack, just a little over, which means supposedly it reckons it can get k's out of a charge. Now, I think that might be just a little optimistic. There are, however, a few different versions of the EQB floating around you'll find on Trade Me and in dealer lots. Right now, however, there's only one you can buy new, and that is this, the entry-level EQB, the EQB 250. The thing is though, for an EV, it's not slow, but it's not a rocket ship. Like I mentioned, at lower speeds, it seems really peppy, but at 0 to 100 time is only 8.9 seconds. Now that's not fast. For a combustion car 20 years ago, that's pretty quick. But for an electric car in 2024, I think the official term for that is meh. So yeah, performance-wise, it's not exactly amazing. It's not the sort of performance you'd brag about at a party, unless it was one of my parties, which seemed to finish at 7 p.m. for some reason. But one thing you would boast about at a party is this car's party piece, and that is the fact that it is a 7-seater. Technically. There are a couple of seats in the back, we'll get to that in a sec. There's not a lot of 7-seater electric vehicles on the market today. There's of course the MIFA 9 from LDV, which is sort of like a giant Chinese spaceship that I drove. It's actually a very decent car. Then of course you've got the Kia EV9, that's a monster of a vehicle that has everything you could want, and those two vehicles are similarly priced at the moment because, well, for a start, the EV9 is currently on special. But overall, they're around about the same price, so you're not really paying much of a premium for having this shiny badge in front of you. Let's move on to comfort and space. Starting with where I am right now in the driver's seat, I am a standard issue human male, 5'10" in height. I have loads of headroom, loads of legroom. Let's move into the back, the second row. Still a relatively large amount of headroom with the seats all the way back and legroom as well. Look at that, cavernous back there. You've also got some amenities in between the seats there. You've got some USB charging and a little pocket to store your potatoes. However, this is where things get interesting. If you move into the third row, there is a third row in this car. Well, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's tight. It is very tight. There's not a lot of room for anything back there, unfortunately. I would treat those seats as kids' seats. Honestly, if you are 5'10" or taller, there's no way you're going to be comfortable in that for anything more than 10 minutes. It is not pleasant. Now, moving further back into the boot, with the seats up, it is, well, you saw it, it's microscopic. There's no point even me trying the Mafia test. I got one buttock in and then gave up. However, if you put those seats down, suddenly it transforms into a very, very usable car. Look at the amount of space you get back there. Effortless Mafia test. I can actually sit up and do the Mafia test back there. Then go one step further. Put those second rows of seats down and look at that. Look how cavernous this thing is. You can lie down fully in this car. You could actually put a mattress in the back and take this thing camping. The options in this are limitless. It is a big, spacious car. If you were to move up to the front, well, you can't. Mercedes don't like it when you open the bonnet. In fact, in some cars, they don't even let you. This one, it actually has a hidden bonnet release switch, this little red lever under the dashboard. Now, if you were to pull that, you would see, well, you'd see electric motor components. There's no storage up there. There's no fartment or front compartment. Besides, it's a Mercedes. You're not supposed to be seeing that. Let's move on to gadgets now, though, because this car is loaded with them. It comes as standard with the Advanced Plus package, which means you get things like keyless entry. You also get things like the Thermotronic air conditioning system, which does sound like something out of Terminator 2. You also get the entertainment package, androgynous Apple connectivity, so yep, it'll connect Android and Apple devices wirelessly. Plus, it's got wireless phone charging down here in the front. It's a little snug, but it's nice to know it has it. It fits my phone. But if that's not enough, you can step up and get the Premium Plus package. Now, this is a $4,000 extra package, but honestly, if you're spending $101,000 on a Mercedes, get it, because it comes with really useful stuff. First of all, it's got the Burmester sound system. That is a staggering staggeringly beautiful, crisp sound system. If you're going to get a Mercedes-Benz, why wouldn't you get the Bemester sound system? The Premium Plus package also has a bird's eye camera system, 360 degree, plus the advanced parking assist system, so it will actually find a parking spot and it will do the hard work for you and actually park the car for you. I know this has been out for a few years now, but that technology never ceases to amaze me. It's a car that's parking itself. You know, when I did my driver's test, I had to reverse and park and parallel park and go around corners and all that stuff, but now the car does it all for you. I love it. This is living in the future. The advanced package also gets you a heads-up display, which this particular example of vehicle doesn't have. Plus, it gets you the Guard 360 security system that monitors the car and its interior. Not only that, it also comes with active lane keeping assist and active steering assist, which means that on the motorway, this car will effectively drive itself. Big fat asterisk up there. Yeah, you've got to keep your hands on the wheel. Now that is just a taste of some of the options you get in the premium package. There are 37 options, in fact, I counted them. It is worth getting if you're going to buy the Mercedes-Benz. Get that $4,000 optional extra package. Let's move on to design now, starting with paint colors. Now, being a Mercedes, you've got 5, and you look at them. However, if you do have eyes and a sense of style, you can get the Patagonia Red. Now that is $900 extra, but it's the only of those colors that actually makes the car pop. As for interior options, you've got options technically. You've got 2. Now, one's leather, one's synthetic, but both are as black as the velvet in that Alana Miles song from 1989. Fortunately though, you do get a sunroof, this massive dual sunroof that lets in a lot of light. Plus, you can not only remove the sun shield, but you can open it as well, and if you feel like it, stand atop your Mercedes EQB and guide your troops through the desert like Montgomery or Rommel. Like, overall, the interior design is nice. It's well appointed. The stitching work is pleasant. The use of fabrics is good. The layout's brilliant. Everything's in arm's reach, and I've got actual physical buttons, not just all touchscreen nonsense. I do like that. It's brilliant. But this is where the niceties end, because we have to talk about the exterior design. And this is where I fear Mercedes, well, they may stop talking to me, because once you look at the outside, I gotta say, I'm not a fan. I mean, okay, the 20-inch wheels, they're an optional extra. They look great. Brilliant, nice, big Mercedes wheels. However, the style itself, it's an example of Mercedes' current Mr. Blobby stage of design, where everything's very rounded, and I just don't think it looks good. I know it's subjective. There will be people out there saying, Gavin, you're an idiot. This is the best looking car Mercedes have ever built, and that's fine. You're probably right. I mean, look at the back. It looks frumpy. And then you've got the haunches on the back there above the rear wheels. Now, if the back tapered down like a fastback, then that would look good, but it doesn't. It's a box. So it just looks odd. I think the front's okay though, but overall, I don't know, it's not me. I'm really looking forward to Mercedes' next iteration. Now, of course, I've got to say, this is subjective. Regardless if it's a car or a house or a potato, it's in the eye of the beholder whether it's beautiful or not. That being said, this is my video, so I dictate that this car is not very pretty. As for driving this car in Auckland though, it's very comfortable, and it's got great regen braking. That means braking that turns braking energy into electricity and tops up your battery just a little bit. So for example, if I turn regen braking onto maximum by using the paddles on the side of the steering wheel, right is less, left is more, and then if I take my foot off the accelerator, oh, the car slows down quite a lot, and that's turning wasted energy into electricity. It's brilliant. However, it won't bring you to a complete stop like some cars do, so it's not full one pedal driving. At the last moment, you will still have to move your foot onto the brake pedal. Oh, the energy, the hassle. It is a big car though, which you will notice if you're driving around tight side streets around One Tree Hill like I am right now, which means that if you are coming to a tight spot on the road, it will require slowing down and a little bit of sucking in your gut as you squeeze past the other vehicles. One thing that surprised me though, and I think it'll surprise you too, is the size of the vehicle. It's a big car, right? You look at it from the outside, massive, big proportions, big dimensions, but it's actually just a little bit smaller than a Tesla Model Y. Yeah, it's deceptive, isn't it? That being said, this does weigh 200 kilograms more, which makes me a little baffled as to how Mercedes reckon they can get 560 Ks out of a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack. But that is the point of this video. Let's get out of the city, put this on the motorway, and see just how far we can go. We are getting on the motorway now, and I'm going to take this on a nice long drive to look at its real-world range and its real-world efficiency, and then I'll report on that very, very soon. Right now, this is a good excuse to see how the car feels on the motorway, because, let's be honest, this car's probably going to spend a lot of its time on Auckland's motorways, just crawling along, because that's what you do in Auckland. Now, first of all, let us set the cruise control to a maximum of, let's ramp it up, to a maximum of 100. Oh, steady on there, mate. Crikey, it's a bit lively. Now, this particular one doesn't have lane keeping assist. It's a bit of a Frankenstein. When Mercedes dealership built this model, I think they cherry-picked some parts and left others. So my advice again, get the premium package. It comes with everything. Okay, so here we go. This car's pulling into this lane. The car should now brake. Here we go. Brilliant. It's doing it all for me. I just have to hold on to the steering wheel. If you are feeling energetic, you do have driving modes. Right now I've got it in comfort mode. I've just switched to eco mode, which has increased the regen braking. It's slowing the car down more. Then of course you have sport mode, just makes it more binary on the accelerator. It doesn't really unleash any more power. My advice is don't bother with sport mode. It is only 140 kilowatts, which is good, but it's not a sports car. Come on. Now, even though this car may not be very sporty, you can control where the electricity comes from in it because it's electric. If you're anything like me, you can have solar panels on your roof and you can charge your car for free. But if you can't do that, the next best thing is to join Ecotricity. It is New Zealand's only certified climate positive electricity provider, which means all the electricity they provide is from wind, hydro and solar, nothing else. No dirty gas, no expensive coal, just clean electricity that won't cost the earth. So why not sign up at ecotricity.co.nz, going clean and green for your house, your car, your business. This is an SUV, a big luxury car that costs about the same as a motorcycle to run. That is why everyone's moving to electric, not just because they're cleaner, but because they're cheap. But now I'm going to chuck this thing into the countryside to see just how far I can go on one charge. Now I don't see it getting anywhere near 564 k's on a charge. It doesn't seem possible with a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack. I'd be surprised if I get more than 400. So that's the point of the test. Stay tuned. All that and more is coming up in the Spud Score. Starting with performance, and unsurprisingly, I'm giving it an average 5 spuds out of 10. It's not a rocket ship, but it moves swiftly and is quite zippy at lower city speeds. Handling's next, and it's surprisingly confident on the corners despite its height, and that's because it has a big heavy battery pack down low underneath the car. There is some lateral wobble at times because it is a taller, heavier vehicle, but overall it's relatively agile, so I'm giving it 6 spuds. As for comfort, it's good. There's plenty of leg and headroom, well, except for an economy class down the back, but the ride is smooth and the noise insulation makes it a quiet driving experience, so 7 spuds there. Let's talk efficiency now, and on average it consumed around 19 units of electricity per 100 kilometers. Now that's just a little more than the Tesla Model Y, which uses around 16 units per 100k, which means in the real world you won't often get that claimed range of 507 k's per charge. Realistically, with combined city and highway driving, you'll likely get a maximum of around 400 k's per charge, so 5 spuds there. Gadgetry's next though, and the sky is the limit with the EQB, but those optional extras do come at an extra cost, and there's no vehicle to load option, meaning you can't take electricity out of the car, say during a power cut, like you can with so many other brands, so I'm giving it 5 spuds there. But is it good value? Well, you'd expect me to say no due to its higher purchase price, but it is competitively priced to other electric 7-seaters, so I'm giving it 6 spuds. As for charging speed, it'll take about 10 hours or overnight on a 7 kilowatt charger like this one that I have in my own garage, and if you're gonna get an EV, get a 7 kilowatt charger. It's about 4 times faster than using the trickle charger that comes with the car. However, if you're on a road trip, then using one of these hyper-rapid chargers from ChargeNet will take about 35 minutes to get from 10% to 80%. Seriously, if you're gonna get an electric vehicle, sign up with ChargeNet. They are New Zealand's largest charging provider with hundreds of rapid chargers all around the country, meaning you can drive anywhere a car can go now using clean electricity alone. Now, the charging speed is not bad. It peaks at 100 kilowatts maximum, which isn't amazing, so I'm gonna give it 5 spuds there. But what about style, you ask? Well, this is subjective, but, well, you already know how I feel, so I'm just going to throw 3 potatoes at it and ask if it is fit for purpose, and the answer is a resounding yes. It's a comfortable, safe, practical Mercedes-Benz, which is also stupidly economical to operate. It is spacious enough to be used for camping, it's got 7 seats, it even parks itself, so I'm going to give it a very decent 7 spuds. But it's the PSC which obviously matters most, and Mercedes often does well in this test, with the EQB having capacity for 66 tubers in the dash, including a spud shelf within the glove box, which is thoughtful, so I'm giving it 7 spuds. That gives the Mercedes-Benz EQB 250 a total spud score of 56. And that's the guts of the Mercedes-Benz EQB, and don't worry if you think that spud score might be a little lower than it should be. Practical cars don't tend to score very high, and this is an unusual car. It is a Mercedes-Benz that's practical. Yes, it's also safe, it's also efficient, costs nothing to run, it's spacious, but it's very practical and it's competitively priced. And that twisted my brain a little bit, because in my mind a Mercedes-Benz has to always be faster or sleeker, or it's got more toys, or it's got more of something. So if you can get your head around that, you might just find that this car is a very good, practical family car that just happens to be a Mercedes-Benz.